Good morning, everyone. It's Dr. Hodges. I'm trying to bang out several different videos because I've been horribly lacking in new content, and I'm so sorry. And there's no excuse but my own. I'm just finally going out for my morning walk. So there you go. All right. So as I say morning walk, you know what I want to talk about? Let's get ready for summer. All right. Spring is here. It is no longer 20 degrees outside. We now want to shed our winter bodies. So let's say you have that last 20 pounds to lose, or maybe you just had surgery and you want to really get things going. You're excited. Or you're somebody that hasn't had surgery or doesn't want surgery, and you're like, what do I need to do to start this weight loss process? So, because I gotta get this summer body going, baby. So let's talk about that. And I wish I could tell you, that I won't get run over. I wish I could tell you that losing weight is easy. It is not, okay? So you just need to get that out of your way. Number two, I have been hearing a lot on the radio, come to our clinic and you can lose 1 pound to 1.5 pounds a day. I can tell you, the only time I ever see that is whenever patients have had weight loss surgery, hands down. Because for you to lose 1 pound a day, that means your body is now in a 3,000 or 3,500 calorie deficit. So unless you're hitting it hard in the gym and literally not eating anything, and I don't mean I just don't eat as much. I mean, I'm talking like you're just not taking in anything. You're maybe doing just a couple of 100 calories a day. Probably not going to be in a 3,500 calorie deficit. Now, my surgery patients, because they're in a hypermetabolic state, so the body's burning even more than they normally would because they're trying to heal from a surgery, and because they're not taking in very much, and because their BMI is usually a little bit higher, so their BMR, the calories that their body needs to do the things it needs to do every day, that number is higher. That's why they can lose sometimes up to 1 pound or 2 a day, and just because that deficit is so big. However, I gotta tell y'all, I heard that on the radio and I was like, really? What are they doing? Because I only get that with surgery. So that's the second thing. So how do we, but even with surgery, it's not a quick fix, right? Because if you have weight loss surgery, I always tell my patients, probably gonna lose all your weight within 9 to 12 or sometimes 9 to 18 months, depending on how much weight it is that you have to lose. And certainly they're going to lose the majority of their weight within the first 3 to 6 months. But that's still not, 1 week, 1 month, you're gonna lose 40 pounds or whatever, okay? So how do you get started? Now that I've broken down that dream that we'd all like to be. So I think the first thing I want you guys to do is give yourself a realistic goal. And it's fine if your goal is to lose 50 pounds. You just need to know that if you're doing medical weight loss, you're probably not going to lose 50 pounds within 2 months. Please don't make that goal for yourself. A very realistic goal for people is to lose anywhere from 5 to 10 pounds a month. And if your BMI is less than 30, and you can go online. I have a little BMI calculator. I'll put that little link on the little notes down below. If your BMI is less than 30, probably going to take you a lot longer to lose the weight, just because your calorie deficit is going to be a lot shrinker. So the first thing I want you guys to do is I want you to calculate your BMR. That's going to tell you how many calories your body needs on any day to do the things it needs to do. Okay, that'll be our starting point. Number 2, then what I want you to do is I want you to take that number and remove 500 calories from it. And that's about where your calories need to be on a regular basis. So you can be losing about 1 pound a week, okay? Now, you can get into your 500 calorie deficit by either changes in your diet and exercise, or a combination of the two. Okay, so calculate your BMR, take 500 calories away, The next thing I want you to do is, you do not need to weigh every day, but I want you to start weighing yourself at least once a week. That's the only way to see where your progress is. And I like to say, give yourself, do it once a week, because you know you're going to have fluctuations in water weight. And if you do have a lower BMR, so basal metabolic rate, like mine right now is 1,300 calories. So my calorie deficit is really narrow. Like, there's no way that I could ever lose a pound a day, because my body only needs 1,300 on any given day to do the things that it needs to do. And that ain't a lot. And that's why I take medicine for it. Okay? Because it helps me maintain my weight, or like now, just trying to tone up for the summer. Okay. So, BMR decreased by 500. I want you to give yourself, like, maybe weigh every Sunday, or maybe weigh every Saturday, or pick a day. Let that be the day that you weigh, so you can just monitor yourself, okay? Because sometimes you might start seeing results and other times you don't. And if you're not visually seeing it, but then you're actually seeing it on a scale, or sometimes you might start seeing it in the clothes, but you're not seeing it on a scale. So you need to have kind of 2 points of reference. So you want the scale, because that will give you a number. But then number 2, just start being much more mindful about the clothes that you're wearing, because you may find that maybe your clothes are starting to fit a little looser. Maybe they're starting to hang a little bit better on you, but you're not seeing a big change on the scale. So don't fret, because that means that you're kind of just losing some inches, which is totally fine, okay? Because it's not uncommon. Like for me, if I'm losing weight, it's a success for me if I've lost maybe a quarter of a pound to a half a pound a week. Yeah, I'm not going to see that really on a scale, unless my scale kind of goes, you weigh blah, 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 point, blah, blah, blah. You know, oftentimes your scale is just going to give you rounded up to whole numbers. So, points of reference. I want you to start to incorporate more protein into your diet. Your body needs 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight. If you are in any weight loss regimen, I don't want your body to start burning muscle. That's actually one of the reasons why I stopped jogging right now, because I'm kind of in more of a calorie deficit, and I'm just kind of out of shape anyway. And so, but I was finding after I would jog, I kind of would smell like ammonia. And I looked up that when that happens, I'm starting to burn. I'm burning muscle along with fat, and I'd rather my body just burn fat. And so it would be better if I just slow down the intensity of my workout, i.e. this walk like I'm doing now, and increase my protein. So whatever you weigh, you need to cut your weight in half. That's how much you weigh in kilograms, and then that's how much protein you need to do on any given day, okay? If you are a bariatric patient, you may need to be supplementing with even more protein, just because you may not be absorbing all the protein that you're taking in, okay? So make sure that you're taking in more protein on a daily basis. I would say I recommend get out and move. Even if all you have are 15 minutes, get out and walk for 15 minutes, because every little calorie deficit helps. One of the biggest lessons that I learned during COVID was the importance of, what is it called? See, now the name escapes me, but it's basically non-exercise movement. Hang on one second. Yay! I remember what the acronym was. It's called NEAT, and it's basically non-exercise thermogenesis, meaning it's non-exercise induced calorie burn. And so what is that? That is getting in your car, driving to work, getting out of your car and walking to the parking lot, or walking around your office, taking the stairs. I saw a lot of weight gain during COVID for many of my patients, not because that they were necessarily eating more, but it's because their movement was so incredibly less. Your body was made to move. You gotta move. So even if all you're doing is going out for 10 minutes, you got to do that. And that's even for my patients, like right after surgery, getting out of the chair or getting off the sofa and going to the bathroom does not walking make. Whenever I say you need to get out and walk, you need to like walk like half a block and then come back. And remember, everybody's going to be at a different fitness level. If you've never exercised, please don't think that you need to go sign up for a boot camp class. That is just not realistic. And the reality is that you don't need to do that. So start off slow, low and slow, because you don't want an injury. So just go start off walking half a block. You can do that 2, maybe 3 times a week. And now go a little bit further. Every time go a little bit further, a little bit further. You don't have to carry weights. If you're overweight right now, it's like you're already carrying, 10, 15 bags of groceries every day. You don't have to hold extra weights. Just go. Right now, I have, my BMI is between 18 and 24, but I gotta tell you, that's a normal range. I don't carry weights whenever I go for a walk. I just go for a walk. I just make sure I kind of go far, although today I only think I went 2 miles. So let me see what else. So I really encourage you to just move. Any little exercise is going to be like the cherry on top, and so don't add in any calories that you've burned as part of calories that you can now eat. Meaning, I just walked 2 miles. That's going to be about 200 calories burned. I now don't want to say, oh, I can eat 200 extra calories because I already went for a walk. Yeah, don't do that. Let that be the cherry on top, okay? And I think the final thing that I want you guys to do is give yourself a break. This past weekend, my daughter had her cheer showcase. It's like the final showcase of the season. It wasn't a competition. It's kind of like a dance recital at the end of the year. And one of the moms, or actually one of the grandmas that was there, she was, we were talking, and she was like, oh, I started Weight Watchers. She's like, I don't know how many points this is, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, listen, when you are dieting and or exercising, you always want to be in a calorie deficit. So let's say you're going on and you're in a calorie deficit, calorie deficit. Then maybe, there is a function that you want to go to. Well, guess what? You can eat up to what your maintenance is. You'll probably even eat maybe 200 calories over your maintenance, or 300, and you're not going to be in a big surplus where you're gaining weight for the day. So give yourself a break. So that's what I told her. I said, listen, we're going out to dinner. You've been doing so well all week. Let today be your maintenance day. You're just basically eating like you're zeroing out for the day. You're eating for par. You're par for the course. You're not going over, you're not going below, but you're not really going above. And then that kind of takes away some of the guilt, because I find that if you fall off the wagon, it's a lot easier to just beat yourself up and then say, well, guess what? I'm going to go have nachos and margaritas tonight. Don't do that, because now you've eaten over and above, and now you've taken away all that good work that you already worked on and did. So don't do that. Just say, okay, you know what? Today's going to be my maintenance day. Tomorrow when I get up, I'm going to have my same low calorie whatever, or I'm going to go to my, go for my walk or get on the elliptical or whatever it was that you were going to do. Okay. So the final thing is like, give yourself a break. So give yourself good expectations. Next thing I want you to do, check where your BMR is so that you can find out what your basal metabolic rate is and remove that, subtract 500 from it. That's where your calories need to be. Next, I want you to, I want you to log your calories. I really like MyFitnessPal and Berrytastic. Incorporate more protein into your diet and get moving. And finally, most importantly, love yourself. This is a journey. There's not a distinct stopping time, unless of course you're one of my brides that are coming in and they're like, I want to lose blah, 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 blah by my wedding date. I'm like, okay. That's whenever it goes back to the beginning. Set a good realistic expectation. And just remember, consistency is the key. You're not going to get it perfect every day. And if it's not a perfect day, that's okay. Let that day be a maintenance day. Give yourself a break. And when you wake up the next morning, start on over. Because that way, if you've given yourself a break, it's a lot easier to get back on the horse that you just fell off of. Okay? So I hope this helped. And
enjoy this warmer weather and just get on out there.